Hi, this is Keith Croes. I'm going to talk about the practice field, which is one of the few stories I have, I think, that's online that you can read today if you'd like to. I'll leave a link below, and I leave it as a sample of hopefully to get people interested in the Fantasy Crow trilogy, because I think it was one of the few that was published back in the day. When I first submitted it, it was published in Beyond Fantasy and Science Fiction. And the practice field is about professional football. And at the time, I was an Eagles fan. I was raising my son, and he was an Eagles fan. We lived outside Philadelphia. And the Eagles, it was like Buddy Ryan and Randall Cunningham in the 1990s. And it was terrible. It was just terrible. The Eagles, like being an Eagles fan was a terrible thing. They'd get a few games into a playoff, maybe a year or two, and then they'd get knocked out. But so I imagined Philadelphia covered by an ice age, all right? And along with the rest of the world, the rest of the United States, I mean, the Eagles were so bad that, I just had the whole planet covered with ice. And football was practiced in something called a unigym. And unigym was like a electronic gizmo you got into, like a Nautilus machine or something. But, virtual reality where you go in and you play football. And you play football during the week with other teammates. There's defense, there's offense, there's rules. And every Sunday during football season, the computers would get together and they'd pitch your team against the team in Dallas. At that point, Dallas was the team that I wanted to beat. So the computer would do that, and the players would work out in the machines. And there wasn't enough room in the Ice Age, where the city was enveloped by ice. There wasn't big spaces. There weren't football fields to practice in. So football fields were like virtual reality, and a football field was a virtual field. Nothing existed like that in most people's lives. And so what happened to this one guy, Frank Thornton, was his elevator got stuck on the way up to the practice field for the Eagles. His elevator got stuck, and he ended up in a empty level, which was like unprecedented in this city enveloped by ice, where everyone lived in little cubicles, and everything was tightly regulated. And so he had a place to run, and he had a place to work out, and he had a place to sweat. And I think what's kind of interesting about the story is the relationship that Frank developed with these miners. They were illegal immigrants into the city, and they came from a heavy gravity planet, and they were very strong. And the kids were playing football, real football, with a real football, which is something that you didn't see in real football. In the football that was like a NFL football, it was all virtual reality. And so Frank got a chance to work out, he got a chance to play real football with these kids, and the story proceeds from there. And it was published, and it was a good story. It still is. And you can read it for free, and tell me what you think about it, like the comments below. And I also have a few thoughts. When I read this recently, I thought about the Russian athletes who were going to the Olympics and didn't know whether they're going to be playing or not because of the doping scandal. So the doping scandal is somewhat like the fact that in the Eagles world that I envisioned, real world football was doping. It was above what other teams had available to them. And so I'm wondering about doping in sports. I have a couple links there, and something to think about. Anyway, talk to you later. Goodbye.